Hello guys, welcome to Lazy Saturday Banter Blitz with International Master Andrey Ostrovskiy with me. In other words, I hope you're doing well. Just let me know if you can hear and see me and we will start playing. So, just to remind you, my primary goal is not to win each and every game. My primary goal is just to teach you something new, probably. So let's have a look what we have in the sense of challenges. Feels like there is just one at the moment. That's why I called it, a lazy Saturday Banter Blitz. Olaf says all okay, and I guess I have only one challenge for now, so I will just accept the one from Olaf. It's gonna be challenging right from the start because Olaf is, very strong player, so I have to be very careful. Okay, but we have some more challenges already. That's good. Okay, so the first game I'm playing with black pieces, and here is d4. Is it a good idea to experiment against Olaf? I don't know. Let's try. So, it doesn't look like very experimental opening. The only thing, I don't really play d5. So I play Indian defense, Queen's Indian defense, that stuff. What can we do here? c5. Yeah, we can probably try c5. And just to make it a bit more interesting. Although there is a big strategic risk, of course, because there will be an isolated pawn or something. Okay, c takes d5. So knight takes d5 is possible here. E takes d5 should be also not so bad, so let's take with the pawn. And bishop g5 immediately. Yeah, probably a good move. Probably a good move. What if I play something like that? I know it's very bad actually, but as I said, just want to experiment a bit. So black's position should be already quite risky, if not lost. But I think to prove that, white should have tried something like bishop takes f6, maybe just damaging my pawn structure, maybe even e4 instead of e3. E3 is just too, modest for such a position. So now let's just put the bishop on e7 so that if bishop f6, I just take on f6, not damaging my own pawn structure. Knight to c6 looks like a normal development here. Castles. Okay. So it looks like a Panov attack reversed. Panov attack in Caro-Kann, I mean. So white should be great here. I mean, having extra tempo compared to Caro-Kann should be just a great help. Yeah, this b3 was pretty much in time, I think. But taking with the pawn, well, I'm not sure. I think queen takes b3 was much more logical, just attacking d5, which is my main weakness in this position. At the same time, stopping my bishop from going anywhere because b7 was under pressure. After a takes b3, I think my position is no longer that dangerous. Let's just protect d5. Normally, I hate moves like bishop e6. Because the bishop is just limited with own pawns here, but here I think I have to do something like that because my d5 should be protected so that my knight f6 is more or less free to do whatever it wants. So maybe jump to e4, maybe going somewhere else, we'll see. My queen is also free now, so I may consider something like queen b6 maybe. Don't know, we'll see. Knight to a4. Alright. Intending something like knight to c5. The only problem with this is most likely that e4 is no longer covered, so I'm going just to occupy it immediately. Most likely there will be bishop e7, and then it's a good question how to take. Probably with the queen, yeah. So white queen takes e7 should be bad. Alright, so now I guess my only problem in this position is my passive bishop. So how to fix that? Is there a possibility even to do something with this right now? Maybe bishop g4. I don't know. But for some reason it feels like it's not that well prepared. So maybe queen b4, exerting some pressure on b3. That can be an option. Let's try that. So if knight c5, I can take. If I want knight c3 is also an option there. b3 is under pressure. Yeah, if knight c5. Okay, so just take it. Or play some like rook to c8, wait in a bit. No, let's just take it. I mean, it can be potentially annoying. Rook takes. Taking with the pawn also deserves some attention, I must admit. Now what? b3 should be attacked somehow. There is a threat of rook to b5 though. Is it a good position for the rook? I'm not sure. If the b file is open, then yes, but b file is closed. So if rook b5, then probably just queen e7. Back for some time, and then rook on b5 is pretty vulnerable. So I think it makes sense for me to try something like this. Yeah, and that is what I was talking about. I'm not sure that rook on b5 is doing anything, so just go back to e7. Everything is protected. Now I have sort of threat like b6, I think. And the rook on b5 will be, yeah, just cut off for some time. Let's say like this. This may be risky for white, right? I may even trap that rook. If b6 is protected, I can play a6 and the rook is just trapped. So is there a defense? We'll see. Now, the most logical is just to play something like queen b7. It feels like that. And then a6. Let's see if white has a defense. Knight to e5 is probably the one possibility. Takes, a6, and rook is kind of okay. Going to b4. If we play something like rook a to b8, there is a possibility to prevent a6 as well. Just playing rook to a1, let's say. I have to make my decision faster now, so... okay, let's try this one. I believe it's not the strongest, but I just have 1 minute on the clock, so... have to do at least something. Maybe queen to a3 was the best try. Maybe simple queen b7, I don't know. After queen b7 I didn't really like knight e5, but maybe I can just play a6, not taking the knight first. Yeah, that is what I missed. I think, yeah, queen b7 then should have been the best try, the best option. Alright. What to do now? Let's get back to c6. The rook is still quite bad. Yeah, but now there is knight to e5. Shit. Played badly. I played badly here. So, do we have at least something here? I'm not sure. Probably spoiled very good position. And now I'm at 40 seconds, so it's pretty risky. Pretty risky now. That was probably the wrong square. I think king e1 was better, or king f1. And if you can f1, then I can play bishop h3, but then king e1. Yeah, I think it was just a wrong direction. Now I don't see a good defense against bishop g4, to be honest. Yeah, if h3, I just take that pawn. If bishop goes away somewhere, bishop g4 is a checkmate. Alright, but this is not really helpful, I guess. I just take there. And it should be just absolutely lost position for white. Alright. Okay. King is safe there. Check. And checkmate. All right. So what went wrong? There were several moments where white could have played much better. So for example, after this c4, I guess something like e4 should be very strong. I may be wrong, but all right. At least bishop takes f6 deserves serious attention. So if I take with the queen, then knight d5, and then knight goes back. So simply extra pawn for nothing. And if I take with the pawn, look at this pawn structure. I mean, now you just do everything to attack d5. You may even want to play g3, bishop g2, then maneuver the knight towards f4, something like this. And just attack my d5. It should be just a long-term advantage for white because of the pawn structure. Then a bit later, after b3, that was also great. I mean, cb3, just take with the queen. And I don't know how to develop my pieces the right way. I have a serious problem with d5 now. Maybe it was also interesting for you just to take on f6 here. I don't know. And then after bishop f6, queen takes b3, and now d5 is really handy. If I play something like knight a5, you just take on d5. If I play bishop b6, there's queen takes b7. Something like knight e7, this is super ugly. I don't know. Should be also quite pleasant position for white. All right. So taking with the pawn is also something that I don't like here. And then a bit later, yeah, so rook there, knight c5 takes here. So first of all, dc5 was interesting, just preparing knight to d4. Again, we should never forget white has a better bishop now. And if the knights are being exchanged, white will have a slight advantage, I guess. Maybe not even slight, I don't know. First thing. And then after rook takes c5 and rook to c8, rook to b5 was waste of time. It was not a decisive mistake, obviously, because it's still possible to go back here. It's just a waste of time, as I said. And yeah, after queen d2 and b6, I think, yeah, white is in trouble now. I guess the only chance is to play knight e5 immediately, because after rook to c1, I missed queen b7. Now I don't see a good defense against a6, because if knight e5, I just play a6 immediately here. That's the point. You cannot take on c6 with the tempo. Well, you can still do that, and probably you'll have some compensation here, but don't know. I don't believe in this, to be honest. But maybe it's okay for white, because if I play bishop d7 now, there is knight e7 check and takes on c8, so maybe it's not decisive. There is no something decisive for black right now. Yeah. Maybe it was not so clear. All right. And at the end, of course, king f3 was a mistake. That was probably the decisive one. So here, after rook to c2, just something like this. And position should be still playable, I guess. Right? Maybe king e1 immediately. Rook is still out of place, so it's not so pleasant, but as I said, it's just playable. It's okay. I guess rook b2 or rook b4. I don't see anything decisive, so still your bishop is better than mine. All right, let's go on. So again, we don't have a lot of challenges, so I will just play one by one for now. Yeah, the one guy from Austria. Let's play that first. Playing with black pieces again. It's a never-ending story. If you start with black, you just play several games with black in a row. If you start with white, the opposite. So, yeah. Scotch. Pretty cool. So... that's what I usually play here. White has plenty of different moves. b3, knight c3, g3, anything, basically. All right. Let's play queen e6. And then let's play a5. And then let's play what? That's a good question. Let's just play a4. Looks a logical follow-up here. And bishop to b4, creating a direct threat of just playing a3. It's So white has to make a decision now. I think in general, it's a better idea just to develop the bishop on d2, but I'm not sure. So this looks also pretty solid for white right now. Like if I play a3, then bishop is hiding on a1. If I take on b3, takes on b3, then what? What can I do with that file? So like rook to a2. Yeah, maybe, but... All right, let's castle first. I think I've seen something there, but it just doesn't work if I'm not castled. But now if I play rook a2, there is just castling and my rook is under attack. If I take on c3, rook takes, so I don't achieve anything. On the other hand, I can try some like d6 or d5, or maybe rook e8 even. Does d5 work? Let's see. d5, e takes d6, queen takes c2, king takes c2. I think white is safe there. All right, what else? Rook a2 castling, and then bishop c3, rook c3, and d5. I don't think I achieve anything with this. Interesting. We can start with a rook. Oh, I wanted to play rook e8. My God, that was just one of these ugly mouse slips. I hate it. Rook e8 was the idea, to attack the pawn and to exert pressure on the e file, so that then d5 looks much more logical and doable in general. God. Okay, now my position is just worse, I guess. What I didn't notice was also a resource of rook to a5, attacking the pawn that way. That was interesting. Maybe it's still on the table. I don't know. Yeah, let's try it. It looks cool, at least. Yeah. I don't like my position at all here. So d5 now. Then f5 and maybe d6. Yeah, let's try d6, undermining this pawn at least. That's why I played rook a5, so that bishop c6 is not a tempo move. Attacking my rook on a8. Yeah, this rook on d8 still makes a little sense. A much better square is e8, obviously, but okay. We can forget about it. So let's take here. Bishop on c6 is under attack. And bishop to d5. Okay, I think I have to take, right? Yes. Now my bishop is hanging. But I think I can do this. Just a sec. Takes on d5. No, bishop c5 first, right? Bishop c5 first. Otherwise, bishop c5 is not possible even. And now I guess, well, first of all, queen h3 looks very tempting, but then king is hiding on h1 and I don't see a follow-up. Another possibility is just to sacrifice an exchange on d5. Does it work? Rook d5, cd5, queen d5, something like queen to f3, and there I wanted to play bishop b7, I suppose. Which should be pretty annoying. But then king is running to h3, that's the thing. So it doesn't quite work. Maybe then just take on f4, something like this. Rook a2 is also very tempting now. I mean, there are so many different options. Well, let's try rook a2. I don't know why, but this looks pretty much in the spirit of this position, exerting additional pressure. The only problem is that I have only 50 seconds, so I have to be really fast to achieve anything here. At the same time, going away from this b4 threat, which was really annoying thing. All right. So now I can take on d5, I hope. All right, and bishop where to g4. Yeah. Quite annoying. For white, at least it should be. Okay, let's just wait a bit because, you know, the rook is pinned. Maybe it was wrong. Maybe it was much better for me just to immediately play bishop a3, but I just wanted to make sure that my king is safe. I should be still winning. Rook is pinned. Yeah, bishop is pinned. So now should be just... and this is a win, but I have only 30 seconds, so still have to play really fast. Okay, my opponent decided to resign. Well, in general, just a logical decision here. So what went wrong and why? Takes there, castles. Yeah, first of all, rook d8. Yeah, that was just a bad thing to do. Rook e8 was much better. I think white should sacrifice on e5 because if white is waiting and playing this f4, I think something like d5 should be, well, not very pleasant at very least. So I want to play d4 now. c4 is under pressure, and yeah, if c takes d5, then I just take back, and there is a threat of bishop a6, so now it's really dangerous to castle there. What else? If e d6 now, that's the point behind rook there, I just take on e2 with a checkmate, right? Because knight is pinned. That's the point here. That's why I wanted to play that move, but instead I played this stupid rook d8. Yeah, was a mouse slip. Castles, rook to a5. f4. Again, I'm not sure that white is even has to protect that pawn, but if there is a choice, I would prefer something like knight e4 probably, because now b2 is protected by the bishop, and there is additional threat of just knight to g5, so white's position starts looking quite good. Maybe I'm wrong and missing something, but I don't like it with black. So f4 was played, I played d6. Yeah, here it's also a question if white needed to take on c6. I guess it's better to wait until black captures on e5 and then play f5 and f6. Typical thing. So maybe again something like knight e4 deserves attention. Or maybe simple rook to a1, just trying to exchange my active rook. By the way, why not? Yeah. And I don't like this idea because of f5, you know. And then immediately f6. And knight is here to go to a4. Looks like white has simply better pieces. That's what I can recommend here at least. All right, let's go on. The next one is Goladarsh. Sorry if I mispronounce your nickname, except. And white pieces. Thank you. Thank you. e4. Now it's going to be much more interesting stuff because I'm playing with white, right? Knight goes to f3 and bishop b5. Let's avoid this stuff with, you know, Kalashnikov, Sveshnikov, all this. All of that. I don't remember if d4 was possible there, but I think d4 is possible here. Pretty typical temporary sacrifice, like this. So I want to put my bishop on d6, that's the plan. To stop black from simple development of the pieces. That is what usually happens here. But then there is always a question how to develop the pieces. I guess knight e2 looks pretty logical. Maybe to go to b3 and take on d4. Maybe to go to c4 and support the bishop. It depends. Okay, rook went away from the f8, which means f7 is a bit more vulnerable. Should we just attack it right now? Like bishop c4, does it make any sense to play something like that? I mean, why not? Let's try it. There may be something. Probably knight at g5 was a bit more, you know, accurate with a similar idea. I mean, because now I have to calculate the things after knight to a5. Something like bishop takes, king takes, b4, attacking the knight. Knight goes away, queen b3, check. King goes to f8, knight jumps to g5. Looks pretty good. Pretty cool for white. If king goes to f6 instead, it's also not very fun for black to play, I think. Yeah, but if king simply goes back, then I just take an a5. Yeah, let's try it, or what? Does it really work? Bishop f7, king f7, b4, what am I missing? Something like queen b6, maybe. Yeah, bishop c5, queen c7 is not necessarily that accurate. It's not necessarily that clear. All right, I don't know, but looks interesting. So let's go for it. Now attacking the knight because I want to bring my queen to b3. That's the point. That's the point here. Maybe I'm missing something simple here, but it feels like I have some compensation for missing material, even if I don't have anything decisive, because black is far behind in development, right? So bishop is stuck on c8, the rook on a8 as well. And I'm just playing with all of my pieces here. Okay, what is more accurate? Queen b3 first or knight g5 first? I mean, both look pretty nice. Let's start with the knight g5. King g8, queen b3. That's the thing. King h8 should be just a smothered mate. And if knight d5, I just regain the missing material with some benefits. King f6. Yeah, it should be almost a checkmate here. Where is my checkmate? Knight takes h7 is just alright, but then king can go to e6, right? That's the thing I want to prevent. Queen to f3 is a possibility here. e5 followed by knight e4 is looking very, very good. Let's see. So e5, I think we can take our time here. Knight takes e5, knight e4, king f5, if there a checkmate. Should be, but the problem is I don't see it immediately for some reason. Knight takes h7 check. The only problem with that move is this king e6. Just slightly annoying. You can always just play, you know, f4 protecting the knight. Then e5 is much better prepared. I mean, let's just do that. We're not in a rush here, right? As I said before, this bishop is just imprisoned on c8, as well as the rook, so other pawns control a lot of important squares, so black is in a big trouble here. So I didn't find anything decisive in forcing continuations, so I decided just to protect the knight with the idea of playing e5, which is quite natural. I still have this idea of playing queen b3. And here comes the explanation why I basically needed to play something else, right? Because bishop h6 creates this square on g7 for the king. Gosh, I missed that completely. I mean, I'm so stupid. Obviously, yeah, there's king g7. Oh, Lord. Okay. Playing a minor piece down now. Obviously for some pawns, but still. God. Well, this helps, actually, because it makes my rook much more active. Something like that. So immediate king g7 didn't help, but rook f8 was probably possible, right? So now I think I'm doing well after simple attack against h7. Should be very close to winning the game. Just a sign of a bad shape, right? If you miss moves like bishop h6, it says it all. Well, still very good, but as I said, bishop g5 was not forced. Rook to f8 was much more testing there. All right, now let's just win this winning position, right? Like it's still playing like just a few pieces and the rest of the army is somewhere away. So it doesn't work this way, I mean. So you need all the pieces to have a normal game. All right, so I missed that bishop h6, and I'm really curious if there was, there should be, something immediate. So I didn't play queen f3, let's say, because of, that was my first intention with a simple idea like this. So this, all right, king there, and here, and typical checkmate. But I thought that it's not so clear if after queen f3, black plays knight to f5. And that was just stupid to reject this queen f3 because of that move. Because at very least now, you have something like knight h7 check and takes on f5, right? You can take on f5 immediately. Just regaining the material. And after king takes a g5. Okay, what do we have here? That feels like I'm a bit blind, I don't see how to checkmate black. So let's say if we play f6, forcing black to occupy that square, queen takes f6, let's say something like h4, right? If king takes, then check there, f4. Yeah, it's winning. And if king goes to h6, there is bishop f4. Obviously, Oh my god. Yeah, queen f3 is so simple. You don't have to calculate anything else if you see that. So, all right, missed that thing. And otherwise an interesting game. I'm not sure that knight to c6 was correct. So here, after I played b4, I think the only way was just to either try something like queen b6 with the counter attack against my bishop, so that was not entirely clear to me. So I can play something like this. Then queen may go to c7 or something, or maybe b5. b5 doesn't really help because of a4. So my idea is just to stay around the bishop so that if I take the knight on a5, queen takes on c5. Okay. I can also try something like e5 here, but again, I'm not sure because I guess it should be, well, logical at least, because knight is hanging now with a tempo. I mean, b takes a5 is a tempo move. Black is having big problems here because this pawn is not really that useful on e4. I mean, d5 is important square, but if I manage to bring my queen to b3, d5 will be controlled anyway. So, I mean, it should be fine for white to play this. Okay. But something like king g8 also deserved attention, just running away immediately. Maybe knight to c6, but it doesn't really help. But definitely not going back, because in that case there is no defense. Right, after I play knight to g5, if you play here, just play queen b3, So how to cover this square, how to cover h7. There are two checkmates threatening. You may play this knight to d5, obviously. Oh, you cannot play knight to d5. Come on, I missed that as well. I thought knight d5 would be possible. But no. There is no knight d5 here because it has been... Yeah, it's completely lost, I mean, for sure. All right, thank you for the game. Let's go on. Cobra is the next, except... Let's go e4. So we have not so many challenges today, which is quite good. I mean, I feel much more comfortable when I understand that I will play with each and every one who challenged. Okay, let's start with a c3 move, because anyway you make this move sooner or later. Why not sooner? Then the typical stuff like bishop f4 if it is allowed. Yeah, like here. Knight f3, knight e2, cancelling, knight e5, attack on the king side. So Carlsbad reversed, what to say. Bishop here, queen to b3. So this looks like a theoretical line. Now black has several moves. Queen d7, queen c8, e5 is also something that is played here. Okay, queen d7, knight e2. Preparing knight to f3 to avoid the damage of the pawn structure. And a6, okay. Should I avoid b5 or it's just fine? I mean, at the early stage of the game, I don't think black is going to play that anyway. So let's just focus on the development. What if I play knight e5 here? Because it's like knight takes e5, d takes e5. Where to go with the knight? To g8 or something? Because e4 is controlled, right? Knight h5 is too risky. I just go away with the bishop and there is rid of h3, g4. Should I try that or? Well, yeah, why not after all? Let's try it. I mean, maybe I'm not achieving it at all after winning that tempo. So knight takes, pawn takes, knight g8. So what? Position remains pretty closed. But I guess it's pleasant anyway. And knight h5. Well, didn't expect that at all. I thought knight g8 was the only move, because now I don't understand how to actually save this minor pieces on g4 and h5. I have different ideas how to trap them. They are so vulnerable and so away from other pieces. It's gonna be very hard position. So simple idea is just to play h3 and then g4, or if bishop goes to f5, simply bishop e2 first, right? Like this. Yeah, now bishop e2 attacking the knight, having also g4 ready like this. Yeah, lost position for black already. Yeah, knight to g8 was the only move, with the idea of bishop h5, bishop g6 then, trying to exchange the light squared bishop, and yeah, just to have French type of pawn structure, but without a bad bishop on c8, like in French defense. That was absolutely playable. This knight h5, no. It doesn't work, simply. Black was not ready for active play, having just a few pieces developed. Yeah. Right, d4. Maybe I missed something, but I don't think so. It's just cd4. So what? Let's just take it. Queen to c6, bishop f3. It remains the same. Remains the same. Winning, I mean. All right. I think it's time to resign, my friend. There is no way I'm going to lose this position. Or not win it. Okay, this doesn't help. Two minor pieces up, right? Let's go 94. Yeah, I mean, anything leads to win. Let's play g5, just intending to bring the knight to f6, maybe force the exchange of that bishop for my knight, in which case all dark squares will become completely weak, so that my bishops, or at least one bishop, will be happy. Yeah. Okay, so after d takes e5, well, first of all, I'm not sure that a6 was great, but maybe it's okay. After knight e5, d5, yeah, knight g8 should be played. Although it looks ugly, but it's actually much better than h5 position, because from here you can go to e7 and to c6. Normal, active square. On h5, it's just misplaced. It's out of play for sure. And I don't think I have anything decisive here, so moreover, h5 is not occupied by any other piece, so that your bishop can go through h5 to g6, very typical maneuver, to make sure my light squared bishop is not that active, not that dangerous to your king side. So that was a way to play for you. Okay, next game. Next game. And I'm playing with white. All right, it's time to start. So my opponent is rated 1297. It doesn't mean anything because, well, you never know. I mean, Cobra says, "Oh, so bad, sorry." Well, don't worry. We all have bad days and games. So everything's fine. Okay, now I think I can take on e5, right? Man, it should be playable now. So I play queen e2 to cover f2. Which means it should be playable. Again, maybe I don't know something that my opponent knows, but for now it looks like an extra pawn. Obviously black has a compensation because of pair of bishops and so on, but I still believe that this extra pawn is a pretty good one. So sometimes I'm pretty materialistic. When I don't see a sufficient compensation for a material, I mean, like, I love such a material. So bishop d7, okay, what to do here? Bishop e3 is a possibility, just to exchange as many pieces as possible. It's pretty typical strategy for the one who has extra material. Ignore it. Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's ignore it. Let's just castle. So taking on e5 is bad in these pawn structures when you don't have f2 protected, but once it's protected, then e5 is really hanging. Well, in the vast majority of cases, I mean, not in each and every one. Okay. So before I just exchange pawns and I have better pawn structures. And here I will just take immediately. I'm still enjoying my pawn structure. Now the question is how to improve the position. First of all, I don't like the position of my queen, so let's just bring it to some dark squares, I think. Because light squares are more or less under control, since almost all my pawns occupy light squares and they're protecting each other, so dark squares should be protected after the exchange of dark square bishops especially. Now, let's just bring the rook to e1 first of all. Then we'll see, maybe queen f4, maybe queen g5. At some point when my pieces occupy good positions, I will start pushing my pawns. Or maybe I'll hate, otherwise if queen e6 there is knight c7 and takes on e8, right? So let's just get rid of that knight first. When it goes away, I just jump with the knight to d5, intending to win the exchange after knight c7. If queen goes to e6, if queen goes to f8, then I think I will have a choice. I mean, it will be a good position. And the knight, as we may notice, doesn't have so many squares, so knight h5 is pretty much forced. Maybe I should just play g4 and trap it. I mean, maybe I don't even need this knight d5. Again, pretty materialistic approach, but maybe it's okay for this position. Yeah, I don't see why not. At least immediately. So if f4 is under control, f6 is under control. If bishop c6, I just play knight e4, and everything is still under control. And the knight has no moves. Yeah, everything's fine here. Now, to take on h5 immediately, or start with the knight at g5. If I play knight to g5 where the queen goes to h6, maybe, then I take on h5. Yeah. I can also take on h5 right now. I can also just play queen to g5, I suppose. Attacking the knight with a queen. Now it feels like it brings my queen to the right square faster, so let's just do it. Because if I take on h5, queen takes on h3, I want my queen somewhere around my king, so why not to do that right now, like this. Maybe I'm just doing the things unnecessary complicated here. Maybe just taking an h5 was better. But I just want to make sure that my opponent doesn't have counterplay here. That's the thing. So if nothing happens right now, I will just take an h5 with the queen. That's what I mean. And I don't damage my pawn structure. My h3 is still alive. So on, so forth. Now f4 is also controlled by the rook. Yeah, after f6, I just wanted to do what? Just to take on h5, right? Yeah, it's absolutely playable. All right, I'm not against the exchange of queens in a situation when I'm a minor piece up. So let's bring another rook to e1, just activating each and everyone, each and everybody. Check. Probably unnecessary. One more check. But now my knight gets to attack b5 quickly. Okay, so after queen e2, you should protect e5 for good. Something like queen e7 or knight d7 or bishop d6 are all possible moves here, right? And after this, again, I don't think you have a sufficient compensation. But I would try to play f5 as soon as possible, so maybe I would have considered some like knight g4 move here, so something really active with the idea of f5. Maybe something like that, to try to compensate the missing pawn with active play of your pieces. But as I said, I don't believe in that anyway. All right, let's go on. The next is Chess Charlie, so let's accept the game. Did we play already? I think yes. Yep, we did play. e4. Sicilian. So I'm playing too many games with white pieces, right? I usually complain about it when I play with black, but yeah, too many games with the same color is normally not so good. And that is what I try against this e6 line from time to time. I mean, that was quite good in playing something like this when I was a kid. The point is, I just exchanged my bishop for the knight, damaging the pawn structure. Now I'm putting my pawns on light squares just to compensate the absence of my bishop, so at least pawns control that squares. Alright, now let's just deal with that knight immediately. Maybe it's too much, maybe it's too aggressive, I don't know. Feels okay. I think h5 was better compared to what black did, just to prevent me from doing stuff like that. Okay, development. Let's just develop our pieces. You should never forget about this. You need your pieces active. Alright, what to do now? g4, g5 looks interesting. Bishop to f4 is also a move, for sure. For some reason, I just want to castle here. Because I didn't know where to develop my bishop yet. It depends on varied. After bishop d6 move. And also prepare f4, which is one of the typical things you do in positions like this, I think. f4, f5, f4, e5, and then f5, f4, e5, and then knight e4. So different things are possible now. Let's go. Okay. So now the threat is just to play e5 and separate the bishop and the pawn g7. Just like that. So g7 is heading again. But the bishop is quite good. Oh, I can take there, right? But then castles and sort of counterplay along the g file. But here is the comment from Giovanni. So compensation can disappear, pawns are forever. Jan, 2017. So maybe just to take on g7 and call it a pawn. I mean, let's try it. It's an interesting experiment. So we're blitzing here. So why not? Am I fast enough, I mean, to protect my king here? Let's see. So I have to deal with this bishop, right? So I have to play bishop e3 or maybe knight e2 even. And just get rid of it. Then I will be safe, 100%. Until it is on the board, I cannot really sleep tight. What am I doing here? Am I idiot? Probably yes. d4 was possible, come on. d4 winning the minor piece, oh my god. I'm so hell blind. I mean, that's amazing. So black was really close to win the game almost on the spot. Yeah, just very bad. I should forget about it as quick as possible. It's just terrible. All right, let's focus on what we have. Yeah, taking on g7 was just against my nature. I should have played knight e2 immediately and, yeah, just play the position with a slight advantage. That's what I like, usually. Okay. Now we can basically force d4, I guess. If I still understand the position, because there may be no need for black to play that. So I thought I was attacking c5. Is it really something I want to play here? Well, let's do it, because I don't see anything else. Shit. So I'm still a pawn up, yeah, for some time at least. It's gonna be like that. That will be anyway very hard to squeeze anything from this position. So what about bringing the rook to c7? Is it a good idea in general? I'm not sure. But again, I just lost the thread here. So looks not so bad, but again, I'm not sure that I'm doing something that is right. After, you know, missing d4, how can I be confident? Alright, but after king e8, well, maybe I'm fine. I guess the best chance for black was just to play a rook b4 or something, because if knight c5 there, then king d6 attacking the rook and the minor piece, so everything's fine. Now I'm still a material up like this, and I have two forks in mind, knight c7 and knight g7, and I'm not sure that black is able to meet both with one move. It's just kind of double attack. Pretty unusual one. But now it's absolutely lost for black, obviously. Alright, so let's have a look at this moment one more time. Queen takes d3, d4. Yeah, I mean, I still have compensation or something. Takes c3, takes c5, maybe something like that. Right, still hoping for some sort of attack, but again, it's a minor piece. So yeah, instead of playing that bishop b3, I should have tried some like knight e2. And in general, I think this queen takes g7 is just a help. We shouldn't take that pawn, because only that gives black some real counter chances. I think something like knight e2 looks pretty good. And then in black castles, you just take that bishop on d4 and enjoy the position with a better bishop, potentially, because that one is locked. And the pawn structure is still better for white, so white still has something to play against. Alright, so I think after knight g6 and h4, h5 is pretty good. I don't have a light squared bishop to attack that pawn on h5, which is typically the case in similar positions, so black should be pretty comfortable here. Because black's plan here is just to play this and that, d6 and e5. That is the correct pawn structure to achieve. And then prepare f5 slowly. Okay, next one is the next Galileo. Okay, accept. Galileo and black pieces. Okay. But the open game, which is nice, and probably Vienna. Yep, it is. It is. And I hell don't remember how to play this position. Let's just take there. Bishop is gonna be developed on d3, right? So let's play knight c6 first. Attacking e5, I hope. It's hanging. I mean, I'm probably preparing castling lawn here, just to avoid all these problems with h7, g7, all that pawns. And after queen g3, I think I can develop my bishop in a very pleasant position. It is f5. Normally white's bishop is on d3, so that my bishop is quite passive. But here it feels like I'm fine. Can I just take on c2 here? I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. Let's experiment. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's just fine. So let's say queen to e7, or no, queen e7 is just bishop takes c6 first and then castle. It's just a cheap trick. Bishop should go back to g6 as soon as possible, that's for sure. And what else? Yeah, let's just bring it back. I mean, it captured a pawn. It did a good job, so time to go back. Castles. Now I wanted just to play bishop c5 check and simply castling like this. Is it okay? Feels like a good position. I mean, not necessarily that great, but extra pawn is the extra pawn. So what about the exchange, my friend? I want to simplify the things. But who knows? Maybe I'm simplifying it for my opponent. But as I said, if you have an extra pawn, I think it's a good idea just to exchange pieces. Typical advice from each and every book for beginners. Bishop on g6 is quite good, right? Covering everything. And if it is being exchanged, then I take with the pawn and I still have a pretty solid position. Alright, rook to d1, exerting some pressure on d5. But if bishop takes c7, then knight takes c7. So I should be still fine here if I play something like this. Oh, there's bishop c4, potentially a 9. My opponent decided to go the other way. And I understand his idea, so white wants to do what? Just to force me to take on g5, then to take on g5 with the knight, then to take on g6, then queen h4 and checkmate. So I have to be careful here. I just wanted to take on g5, but now I understand it's unclear. So what if we play this move? I hope it's still possible. Just trying to bring the other pieces to the game as well. So like rook to e8, then bishop g5 and e5. Looks like it drops. And I think here I have to take with this pawn because otherwise it's hard to protect. It's hard to protect my key. But now, yeah, there is a problem. Potentially. Or maybe I'm still fine. Yeah, I'm fine because knight e4, just rook takes f1. That's the thing. And then knight takes d4, winning the game. So this means I have a passer on d4. White also has the one on e5, but it feels like d4 is much easier to support. So I'll just play rook d8, something like that, in the nearest future. But white is going to do like the same and play e6. Okay. Okay. No one told me it's going to be simple, so let's just do the thing. Rook f5. Looks good. Yeah, let's put my rook here. And I didn't notice that the move queen g4 was about the attack against d4. Yeah, I'm just so super blind today. Like, sorry for that, guys. Blundering in each and every game. This is a 9. I mean, by accident, this rook f5 is actually okay, because now I have this rook takes e5 move, I hope. Rook takes e5, rook takes c5, and then what to do? To take with the knight? To take with the queen? I don't think taking with the queen gives me anything, so... Wait, what if we take on d4 first? Like rook d4, h5. Oh, this is something interesting. Potentially, but no. I guess it's alright for white. So let's take this one. I think I don't miss anything much more promising than taking with the knight. Yeah, that's just because I have just 1 minute on the clock. Yeah, and my advantage is being diminished because of my actions here, mainly. So I'm attacking queen. My next idea is just to play c5, then take on d1 and play that game. And that is strange. I expected queen e2. Maybe again I'm missing something, but let's just play c5. I don't see anything, but it feels like I'm winning the material now. So queen e2 is a move, still having rook and d1 protected, and then if c5, then just knight f3 or knight b3, I don't know. Something like that. Now I'm just winning because the first rank is weak. Still weak. Same like after white played c4, d4, captured on e7, and then knight d4 was not possible. Now it's just extra minor piece. Okay. Looks good. Yo. Interesting game. Interesting game, I guess. We both missed something at some point, but it's hard to say when. So here, rook d1. Yeah, a6 was just not good for sure. Takes there, takes there. Here maybe, like what? Queen h4, but then h6 is possible. Well, maybe it's not so bad for me. Maybe it's not so bad. Yeah, here maybe e6 instead of knight d4. I don't know. Position remains very complicated. Probably balanced more or less because my extra pawn is actually doubled. It's still an extra pawn, but you know, it's hard to convert it, at least in the middle game stage. What to do? Yeah, maybe giving me a chance to bring the bishop to f5 was also not so good. But I don't know the theory here, all right? There should be something theoretic. Maybe bishop d3 here, and after bishop d3 just take with the pawn and then play d4, something like that. Don't know. Anyways, here we go. What's going on with the challenges? I have one from United Kingdom, but the guy is not a premium user, so I'll decline it because, sorry, the rule is to play only against premium users. There is one more challenge from the guy I have already played, and here is blueberries. Let's play blueberries. Accept. Premium user 2500s and black pieces again. Let's focus. e4, e5. Here we are with the Italian Roy Lopez Scotch. What's going to happen in this game? Bishop c4. This line with d4, all right. No, d3, okay. All right. Good then. So Italian after all. A slow one. Let's castle. Knight to a3. Let's just go away with the bishop because it's too vulnerable here on c5 to different things like b4, d4. There are different plans. One of this is just to bring the knight to g6. So position should be pretty much equal. All right. I don't care about the position of the rook on a7 because it's gonna change rapidly. But what I like is to have my knight here on f4, creating some threats. What I want to do here, just to take on h3 at some point and checkmate. Well, not so simple, obviously, but yeah, something like that. Knight is going to occupy f5. This is a smart move. But knight on h4 is vulnerable. So can I just take on e4 now? Is it okay for me to take on e4 and then to take on h4? It feels like a possibility. But I'm not really calculating anything, so it's bad. Let's take it anyway. Take there, and then g3, right? That's what I missed. But then knight takes h3 was check, and queen can go away. Something like that. All right, and here I just take there. Here I take there, yeah. Sounds funny. And I can take on h3, right? Takes on c4, like 2 extra pawns. f6 or something. Not necessarily that pleasant, but I think we can manage it. We can do it. We can deal with this stuff. 2 pawns now, right? Okay, let's exchange pieces. As I said before, if you have an extra pawn, you should be not against exchanging the pieces. So what am I doing here? I started playing like a patzer right after exchanging pieces, I think, because I'm like feeling completely comfortable because of extra, so how many? 2 extra pawns, right? But it's may change quickly. So I have to be very careful here. h5. Yeah, this looks natural. Rook to h5, rook takes d6, that is what I was talking about. So let's protect that stuff first. Yeah, very bad technique. Very bad, just as usual in Blitz. Well, during Banter Blitz shows especially. In general, my technique is not so awful, but for some reason it just happens during Banter Blitz. Just playing like an idiot. Alright, so now we can do what? Check. Man takes f5. So we're still 2 pawns up. And now this rook on e6 is kind of stuck, right? That's a pleasant part. c5 is still here, but we take on c5. Right, so let's play this move first. We can probably now go away with the rook from c8, because I don't see a reason to worry about these guys here, because everything is under control. I think the king will be able to do everything on alone, right? Or I'm too optimistic here. So what about c5, bc5, and b6? This may be a problem for me. Okay, let's probably just put the rook on d4 then to control d6 square. See if there is c5, bc5, b6. Okay, we just take, rook takes. I think I should be still fine because there is no check on d6. So it will be again just an exchange. And a good exchange for me. Rook c5 is not possible. Alright, so let's win one more pawn. Too many extra material. Too many extra pawns, sorry. It's gonna give me something, right? But this move is just very bad. Actually. Maybe I'm fine here. So rook h3, king e2, rook a2, king to f1, rook to h2, I suppose. Rook takes c7, king goes to e8. Check, king f7. So my king is running away. But the question is, do I have something there? Or it's too risky? I don't know. Let's check it. Experimental stuff. Still. Like that. Oh, this way. Alright. I think my king becomes safer now. So I expected taking with the rook from a7. And in case my king is for some time in the back rank. Which is quite annoying for sure. Now it should be very safe, yeah. It just takes and goes somewhere like this. Attacking b6 and creating a threat of this stuff. Takes there. Yeah, now it's absolutely lost. Like completely lost for white. Alright. I think my technique is enough for this sort of positions. Okay. When you just have to push the pawns and don't even think about what your opponent does. Okay, let's push this one as well. Just to make opponent's rook completely passive. And this one. And this one. Bring the king to action. Okay, it's time to finish the game, so let's do this. Good moment to stop the show. Thank you very much, guys, for being with me this time. But I hope that you learned something nevertheless. So there were probably some problems with the broadcast. Most likely we lost several seconds, and it will affect the recording. After all, sorry for that. Don't know if it was my problem. Probably it was my problem. I mean the problem on my end. So wish you all the best. Wish you a great weekend, and hopefully see you in 1 week. Bye bye.